Welcome to the expert video TwinEye and DoubleLine. TwinEye and DoubleLine are diffuse reflective photoelectric sensors with two sensor cores in one housing. They offer much better performance than standard sensors and therefore they can be used for a wider range of applications. Diffuse reflective sensors with background suppression operate using triangulation. TwinEye and DoubleLine sensors operating using 2x triangulation. In essence, a diffuse reflective sensor with triangulation is a distance measurement device. When a diffuse reflective sensor is set, a distance, the sensing range, and not a sensitivity is set.
The sensor is taught to a certain sensing range, exactly to the diffuse white cardboard. The expectation is that the sensor will detect the cardboard up to this distance, but not behind it. Of course, that's exactly what the sensor does. The triangulation principle means that white and bright objects are detected at greater distances than black or dark objects.
In the datasheets of standard diffuse reflective sensors, you find curves that show these black-white shifts. This black-white shift doesn't include objects with other optical properties such as shiny metallic surfaces, irregular glossy surfaces, or objects shrinked or wrapped in plastic films. The switching tolerance detecting these objects is bigger than on diffuse white and black objects. In addition, these critical objects just mentioned before can also cause faulty switching in the near and far background behind the set sensing range.
A glossy metallized packaging with dark markings shows larger tolerances than the black-white shift displayed in the datasheets. Also, a reflective machine part that passes through the center light spot behind the set sensing range can also cause a false switching. The best example is a safety vest, which some diffuse reflective sensors still detect meters behind the set sensing range.
Due to this behavior of standard diffuse reflective sensors, certain objects cannot be detected in front of closed backgrounds or detected at all. Or the sensors cannot be used for applications where highly reflective objects are present or moving in the background. Here, the DoubleLine and TwinEye sensors come into play. To cut a long story short, these sensors don't deal with such issues. They simply detect objects of any style, ignore all backgrounds, no matter how reflective and what kind of shape they may be. The most reliable and error-free use in machines is possible. Thereby, the working principle is quite simple. There are two sensor cores in one housing using triangulation. With intelligent evaluation of both sensors, the processor can calculate much better. The basic principle of the sensors is similar and easy to explain. The output is switched on first when both sensor cores detect the object. The output is switched off again when both cores no longer detect the object.
TwinEye technology is ideal for reliably detecting irregular, reflective, flat packaging on all kinds of conveyor belts. Here is a W12 TwinEye in action. First, when both receivers detect the object, the output is switched on. The output is switched off again when both receivers no longer detect the object. Another application is detecting bottles and objects wrapped in foil. The big advantage is that when one receiver misses the object, due to a false switching, the output remains on. Two receivers can collect more light than one, and light is received from two different directions. It is a stereo effect. Here we show this using the example of a DoubleLine sensor that is supposed to detect a shiny, very flat packaging with a front and back seal on a flat tray. First, when both sensor lines detect the object, the output is switched on. The output is switched off again when both lines no longer detect the object. The big advantage is that when one line misses the object due to a false switching, the output remains on.
What both DoubleLine and TwinEye sensors have in common is that they offer a 100% background suppression. The sensors ignores all known objects of any style, include highly reflective ones in the background. Can you remember the safety vest? Able to generate faulty switching meters behind the set sensing range? Let's take a closer look at that. In order to switch on background objects, both receivers or both lines must show faulty switching at the same time, and that is almost impossible. DoubleLine and TwinEye sensors can reliably detect difficult objects, flared, shiny, irregular, or objects with all properties together much better than standard diffuse sensors, even in front of closed backgrounds. Furthermore, they suppress critical backgrounds already few millimeters behind the set sensing range. That makes the sensor awesome and unique. They are easy to adjust and to offer fit and forget character. DoubleLine and TwinEye sensors with the stereo effect. There are 2 sensors with DoubleLine available and 1 TwinEye sensor with a single line, which is the W12. These sensors can be used to detect structured objects such as PCB, punched metal sheets or grid boxes, or to detect tiny objects such as closed wire hangers at different positions.
5 sensor types with TwinEye technology are available in the housing designs of the W12, W16 and W26. There are 3 sensor types with DoubleLine available in the housing design W4S and W4F.